With 20 mainline games, 9 remasters, and 17 spin-offs, there's no denying that the Legend of Zelda series is huge. So today, I'm gonna share with you every Legend of Zelda game that you can play officially on your Nintendo Switch so far. Other than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that is. This list will hopefully change on the upcoming years. Yes, I'm talking to you, Nintendo. We need the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD for the Switch, please. Alright, starting things off with the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. This game originally was released for the Wii. Even though it was intended to take full advantage of the Wii's potentials and features, it got released a bit too late. Just before the Wii U, to be exact. Which is why not everyone got a chance to experience it. Now you can play it on your Nintendo Switch as an enhanced port, and I have to say that there's a significant improvement with the motion controls, and you can even switch to the regular handheld controls, which wasn't an option on the original game. On top of that, Skyward Sword is the first game within the Legend of Zelda official timeline, therefore it's a must-play if you're planning to learn a little bit more about the series. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is available in both digital and physical for your Nintendo Switch. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Oddly enough, this is the only remake that we have for the Nintendo Switch so far, because Skyward Sword is technically an HD or an enhanced version of the original Skyward Sword. Link's Awakening was originally released for the Game Boy in 1993, and it even got its own remake back in the day with Link's Awakening DX, which included cool new dungeons and new items. Now, this beautiful game got the remake it deserved for the Nintendo Switch, developed by Grezzo, who you might be already familiar with if you played both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D remasters for the 3DS. Yes, they are remasters, not remakes. We'll get into that on a later video. So, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is available in both digital and physical for your Nintendo Switch. Now, moving on with the spin-off, we're gonna start things off with Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Now, this is not the traditional Zelda, this is actually a hack and slash, hence the Warriors word on the name, which adds this game to the Warriors series list, an action game series created by Omega Force. I must say that even though Warriors are not one of my favorites, this one is a lot of fun to play. You get to play as any of the Legend of Zelda characters within the entire series. This game right now is only available digital for your Nintendo Switch. Oh, and by the way, if you're enjoying this video, just hit the like button, please. Alright, staying with the same Warriors category, and one of my favorites is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. On this game, you cannot play as any character within the entire series, but rather any character within The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game takes you back to see Hyrule 100 years before the events of the Great Calamity. If you're like me and you enjoy a good story and not just a good gameplay, then this game is definitely for you. It's a shame this is not within the mainline. Well, it is, but it's sort of like a temporary timeline or a what-if story, if you want to put it that way. Anyway, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is available in both digital and physical. However, you can also get sort of like the digital ultimate version that includes the regular game plus the expansion pass. It's a bit pricey, but it's totally worth it. And finally, we have Cadence of Hyrule Crypt of the NecroDancer featuring The Legend of Zelda. This is a rhythmic action adventure from a Brace Yourselves game. It's basically the gameplay of Crypt of the NecroDancer in the setting of The Legend of Zelda. You can play as Link and even Zelda, which is super cool and very cute. It's such a fun game to play it, but I do understand that these kind of games are not for everyone. Either way, you can get the regular digital version or the digital that includes the season pass for your Nintendo Switch. Let me know in the comments if you have played any of these games that I just mentioned. And that is what we have so far in terms of Nintendo Switch releases. Again, not including Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild. Now we're gonna discuss a little bit more what's included with the Nintendo Switch Online membership or with the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. The Legend of Zelda for the NES. Yes, I'm talking about the very first Zelda game ever. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, which is known as one of the hardest Zelda games ever. Also, it's considered by some one of the black sheeps within the series, and I have to respectfully disagree. I had a lot of fun, and it was so satisfying and rewarding for me to finally beat the game. That is also included with your membership. You can play both on the regular version or the SP edition using the Nintendo Entertainment System or NES app within your Nintendo Switch. Now moving on to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES for short, you can play The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. For Game Boy, you can play the recently 2 games added to the list, The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. And you can also play The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, which is one of the ones that I talked about earlier. And finally, you can play The Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance app, and both The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64 app. However, these last games are only available if you get the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. I encourage you to visit the Nintendo official website. You see a very useful price table on which you can find what's included with the membership, and you can even have a look at the prices between the membership types such as individual and family. I am currently on a family member type, and I have to say is the cheapest and best option for you to get. All you have to do is find 7 more Nintendo Switch users and add them to your plan. Yes, it's always best to include family, but friends are also considered to be family. And let's be clear here, I'm not trying to sell you the Nintendo Switch Online, but to share with you what actually works for me. I totally understand that this might not be the same for you. Which brings me to a couple of things that I would like to disclose. First, if you have the original games and the original consoles, please go and play them and enjoy them on those original consoles. It's always the best way to do it. And you don't have to pay for the Nintendo Switch Online. Second, it is possible for you to play any of the older games and even the new ones on emulators, and they run way better compared even to the original hardware and the virtual consoles that we just discussed. Emulation is not itself illegal, but you are required to buy the original game in order to emulate them legally, so just be careful. But it's definitely more a personal choice. I would love to get all of the original games and consoles, but since I'm constantly moving, that is simply not an option for me right now. So the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack fits like a glove for me, allowing me to play any of these Zelda games on my Nintendo Switch. I recently started collecting older games and older consoles, but I only have the Wii U and the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Again, Nintendo, please give us the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD or we riot! No, I'm just kidding. Not sure if that's ever going to happen. Besides, we're still waiting to hear anything about the rumored Nintendo Switch 2. Getting back to subject, that's why, at least for me, it's not really a problem to pay or to buy these games to play them on the Switch. But I can understand the frustration if you bought the original versions and now having to pay on top of that to be able to play them on the Switch. Yes, I do get it. I feel like Nintendo should have come with a creative way to keep your original purchases, some sort of a download code or something, but by the end of the day, it's a business. It is what it is. So, that's all for today's video. Let me know in the comments if I missed any of the games, or which one are you expecting to play on your Nintendo Switch sooner than later. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.